Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I got another Spinnaker watch for you, and as always, I'm super excited to share this particular model. It is one of my favorite Spinnakers, and it is the Dumas. Check this out. So, you guys have seen this watch reviewed many times on this channel in different colors. I think I have this watch in almost every color variation that they have, and every time I go to their website and look at what I want to request, the Dumas just keeps calling me in, you know. It's one of these watches that I feel is really what I would like to see them do more of. More kind of vintage styled cases like this. And what this has is basically an octagon shaped 70s inspired case. It's not that it's over the top, it's not that it's not been done before, but when you look at all the different Rolex homage watches out there, remember a lot of times when we look at watches and we see anything that just has a round, like 38 to 42 millimeter case, people say, oh, and a 3-link bracelet, they're like, oh, it's another Rolex homage. And it's not always the case. You know, a Rolex Submariner to me is not really that over the top looking of a watch. It's a very simple, clean, basic watch. It's not a lot different than like any Timex watches you can pick up. Of course, I don't mean that to be a complete 100% comparison. I just mean that that round case has been done and been done. It will continue to be done, and I totally get it. So I really like when companies like this kind of go, I'm going to say it's a little bit loosely, like kind of go outside the box a little bit. Again, we're not talking about something overly complex, but it just adds a lot to the actual watch and just takes it away, it steps away from that traditional round Submariner homage style. It's one of my favorite models, if not my favorite model by Spinnaker. And so again, I have this watch in the teal and black, I have it in the blue, I have it in the white, I have it in the gray. It's just a watch that I keep coming back to, and I'm fortunate enough to have this wonderful agreement with them where I get to share these different color combinations with you guys. Sometimes all it takes is you finding a watch where the color really speaks to you, and then suddenly you want the watch. So let's check it out. So we'll call this the Bumblebee, right? We got basically yellow and black. To be honest with you, I wasn't actually going to request this, but my dad is like, my dad is awesome. A lot of people are going to say their dad's the best. My dad's the best, all right? Just get it. Just understand now. But he's not materialistic at all, and he never wants anything. So when he does actually see something that kind of, you know, sparks his interest, I said, ooh, let me get my hands on that, right? So, of course, I had to go ahead and get the yellow, and he definitely digs this. So I'm actually going to be gifting this to him. It's just an incredible watch, and he's going to have a lot of enjoyment wearing this. And it's not really a color. My dad's very conservative. You know, he's not going to rock the big giant Invicta watches, right? But I thought it was really kind of fun and interesting that he wanted, you know, to check out this yellow one. So pretty cool. So with that being said, I also requested another one of Dartmouth brands. We have, this is a Cadola. You'll see a future review coming up on this. Again, another awesome watch with that kind of, again, vintage styled case, more of like a football, right? Football shape rather than just plain old round. This kind of reminds me of like the Doxa style, right? Very similar. And that's one of my favorite style watches, right? I'd never spend the money on an actual Doxa, $2 grand for what, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But check this out. So let's talk about the specifications, as I like to call check boxes. You know, when buying a watch, these are, I think, everybody's going to have their own set of check boxes, but across the board, most of us are going to have similar check boxes, right? Some are going to be more important than others. So number one, what I always say is when you see this watch, when you watch this video and I slap this bad boy on the wrist, is this something that you say, man, I can picture that on my wrist? Then there's your first check box. You're showing interest in something that speaks to you. You're not looking at it for the brand name. You're not saying, oh, my buddy's got Rolex, or oh, my buddy's got Omega, or I need to have this so people respect me. Like, buy what makes you ultimately happy and what you want to wear. So if you watch this video and you see this watch is kind of calling out to you, man, there you go, checkbox number one. Number two, big one for me is, what is it made out of? So we have stainless steel, 316 stainless steel construction. I remember one guy commented the other day about, it was on a Diesel watch video I did, and he was like, oh, Diesel use shit materials. It's like, all right, well, so you know me. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, we'll piss off, right? But other times I'm like, all right, objectively, tell me about the materials. No evidence, nothing to back it up, just nonsense talk. When we look at materials, 99% of the watches, well, I shouldn't say that number because I'm pulling that out of my ass, right? But most of the watches out there use, unless we're getting something in that $30 price range, and even then you can still get stainless steel, right? It may not be 316, but when you get 316 stainless steel, you don't really need anything more in a watch, unless you want something gold, platinum. I get that, right? But using anything else is really no point. Of course, there's ceramics and different materials. I get that part, right? Tungsten. But ultimately, for longevity, for a good quality is what I mean, 316 stainless steel is all you need. So you have all 316 stainless steel construction, right? When we look at that construction, a lot of times we'll then look at, this isn't necessarily a checkbox, but let's kind of tie it into materials, right? Fit and finish. I hear this all the time. Fit and finish, right? I think, again, these folks are living in the Stone Age here, right? Fit and finish on most of the modern watches, especially in this price point, are fantastic, right? And what's interesting is you're starting to see on YouTube now guys who are in the luxury game actually start to like pick up Chinese watches and look at them and actually objectively, it's like they almost have never looked at one before, and they're just blown away at how good the fit and finishing. And when we talk about fit and finishing, we're talking about how it's polished. We're talking about, you know, how the links fit together. And really, I mean, what more could you possibly want? You know, I just don't really understand how anybody could objectively state that nowadays with modern watches. They're all good. I mean, it's incredible. So then after that, big one for most people, is it a quartz or is it an automatic? This does use a Japanese NH35 TMI automatic movement. You know, I've heard from a lot of people, and again, you know, some people are saying that, you know, that's not, TMI is not Seiko. It's ultimately, I believe TMI, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe TMI is affiliated with Seiko, where they make these movements, which are actual Seiko design, Seiko movements under a different brand name or under a different, I guess, company in order to sell them for companies like this to throw in their watches, right? They're, in essence, Seiko automatic movements. NH35, from my understanding, is a Seiko automatic movement, right? So again, that's, if you have that, that's kind of like the old standby when it comes to watches. If you got an H35, you got a quality automatic movement, and in my opinion, you don't need anything more. Anything past that is really ultimately just, you're starting to get into that, I don't want to say snob territory, but you're kind of starting to geek out, right? You're starting to be like, all right, my watches, you're starting to pick up time graphers and, you know, wanting movements regulated. You want super accurate movements. And that's cool if you like that and you're into that. But for me, am I getting to work on time? Yes, then it works, right? So I'm not too worried about a watch being super accurate. If I need accuracy to that level, you just get a quartz watch. I mean, there's really, yeah, a $3 quartz watch, it's going to be more accurate than any automatic movement on earth, right? Then, of course, we look at things like wings that don't mean that much to me. But what is the bezel? Or the bezel, the crystal. This does have a sapphire lens with anti-reflective coating. Again, that's going to be a checkbox for many folks out there, and I get it. For me, it's not really something I'm even concerned with because I've never scratched any watch. You know, again, when we talk about scratching crystals, you almost have to have a scratch kit in order to scratch crystals. Normal wear and tear, you might, but the odds are that you're going to, even with a basic mineral crystal, it's pretty slim that you're going to do that unless you're really abusive with your watches, right? Then, of course, you know, unidirectional rotating bezel. We turn the bezel on this. It's solid. It's tight. There's no back play in this. Sound does not dictate quality. I know some folks are like, will say, oh man, you listen to the bezel. I always got to laugh. Like, it's like they'll make the excuse for the luxury brand. Wow, it sounds better. It's only because you're looking at the brand name. Ultimately, if a bezel isn't a back play, you're getting a quality bezel. Is this bezel a little bit hard to turn? It is. It's a tight bezel, and you don't have a lot of grip on it. So if that's, you know, something you use often, that might be something that bothers you, but to me, it doesn't bother me at all. Really nice, big indices, nice legible hands, and again, that yellow just screams dive watch. When we look at dive watch colors, generally they're going to be that yellow, that orange. Those are the easiest to see underwater. I love those colors in a watch, although I'm not really big fans of those colors. Like, I don't have a lot of clothing in those colors. I wouldn't get a car or a bike that color, right? But I totally dig in a watch. It's really cool. As far as the warranty, you get 2 years, 300 meters water resistance. It is 48 millimeters lug to lug, 22 millimeter stainless steel bracelet. You do have a milled fold over clasp with dual push button safety deploying and a safety lock with your Spinnaker logo on the back. The crown, it is a screw down crown as well. Exhibition case back, exhibition window on the case back. Sorry, forgive me. I'm still getting over this cold, man. I'm still hoarse, so I apologize. But I like that they just did plain old Plain old black rotor, simple, clean, says Spinnaker on it. What else? That's really about it. As far as the bezel insert, it looks like it's a glass bezel on the Dumas watches. Now, something to be said about that, it does have a really great shine to it because it is glass, but I would think, again, if you're really tough on your watches, you smack them a lot, you know, a lot of times your bezel is going to protect your crystal. It is, you know, with a ceramic bezel, it's more durable, more scratch resistant. With glass, there is the possibility of shattering that because the bezel does take the brunt of the abuse, right? When you're banging or you actually catch it on something. But again, I've worn this watch for years now. Again, I have several different colors. I've never had an issue on that, but it is just something to note. It is again, unidirectional glass bezel and 15 millimeters case thickness. It is a 44 millimeter watch. I know some of you guys who are very sensitive. I'm sorry. Trigger warning here. 44 millimeter. I know that's a bigger watch for you. You know, it might hurt your little wrist. It's okay. You know, you get a 38 millimeter. There's other options out there. I think even Spinnaker has some smaller watches, but the Dumas 44, and I think for everybody else who, you know, isn't overly sensitive, I think 44 is kind of a nice stepping stone if you're not really going to jump into like 50 millimeter watches, even 48, and you're like, I just want something a little bigger. 44 is a nice kind of gateway into those bigger watches, and you may never go past that, and that's okay too. You know, not big watches aren't for everybody, but this watch, I mean, again, it is one of my favorite watches. I have a collection now of like 400. You know, it's hard to really pick out a favorite. I don't really think I have one, but a watch that does get a lot of wrist time is the Spinnaker Dumas. And I know I say that a lot with a lot of watches, but it's true. I absolutely love this watch. I love the vintage styling. It's clean, it's classy, it's very universal, and it is just a high quality, amazing watch. I don't think anybody really needs anything more than what you're getting with the Spinnaker Dumas, or really any of the Spinnaker watches. So without further ado, let's throw it on the wrist. Price point though, before I forget that, price point of this one here is going to run you right now $400, which is pretty reasonable when you start looking at what a lot of micro brand divers cost you. 400s, and you know, we're in the ballpark there. I like the fact that Spinnaker, you know, they are part of Dartmouth, so a lot of times Nubeo, they have the huge MSRP. Then they have the 50% off all the time. Then they have their 50% off sale. When they're not on sale, you can use my Fat Cat Collections code. You get 50% off. I don't really like that tactic. I don't know why they do it on Nubeo, but they don't do it on Dumas or on Spinnaker. I'm just not really sure. But I like the fact that they're just picking. There's no MSRP. There's none of that nonsense. It's like, here, it's $400. Buy it on sale or don't. And that's kind of how I'm very direct, and I like that, you know. So I wish they would kind of copy that pricing standard or structure over to all their other brands. But it's okay. You're still getting the quality across brands. Get them when they're on sale, like anything else, right? But right now, we do have a spring sale with 20% off, no coupon needed. But I would encourage you to try to use my coupon code as well. I'll put that in the description. I'm not sure if it works on top of this, but definitely take advantage of every opportunity you can to save a little bit of money. But this is going to put this watch at roughly, what, $320? Exceptional price for this, for what you're getting. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so without further ado, let's throw on the wrist. I didn't show you guys the box. If you need to see the box, I mean, I'm sure I threw some pictures up here during the video, but by all means, check out my other videos on the Dumas. I'm sure I showcase the box in one of those other videos. I think I have 5 or 6 of these videos. So I have this size a little bit larger right now, but again, this is what it looks like on my wrist. I got a 7-inch wrist. I weigh about 182 pounds. I'm 5'8". Again, great wrist presence, not something that's small. It is something that's going to get noticeable, and the yellow just really pops. You'll absolutely love this watch. I mean, it's such a killer piece. Now, I have been kind of mentioning it in videos. I don't know how much of my content Dartmouth watches. I don't think they watch every video, but I hope that they start making this watch in some more color variations. Again, they came out with some of the newer models in that kind of aqua and black. It's again one of the greatest colors. This yellow is superb. I have this also in the orange. But as far as the other color combinations here, before we close, we have it in the Bordeaux, which is like kind of like a wine and black bezel. Then we have the tangerine, another great one. Basically, I call the tangerine one kind of like the little brother of this, or little sister, right? It's kind of like Tolodoxa. I love it. Then we have the Sahara, which has got like that vintage cream and green. We have a Blue Yonder, black bezel. All these have black bezels with the exception of Actually, I shouldn't say that. I think most of these have black bezels. No, they don't. I'm sorry. I just said most have black bezels. Some have green. This, but judging by the picture, the blue yonder's got like a kind of a blue face. But right now, all these are available, and there's a couple sold out. Okay, so anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I really hope they do some more color variations. I'd really like to see them do these. They have some great choices here, but I'd love to see them bust something out with like maybe pink and teal, maybe just, you know, pink and white. White would be fantastic. If you haven't checked out Oceaniva, I just reviewed their newest titanium GMT, and they did that all in all white. It looks absolutely stunning. This would be another piece done in all white. Here's Spinnaker. Here's a couple color combinations for your upcoming videos. Do a Stormtrooper, black and white. We're gonna do a white on white. That's what we want to do. We want to do a pink and aqua. We want to do an aqua white, and we want to do a pink and black. Fantastic colors. Again, my opinion. But anyway, if I can help you guys anyway, let me know. Drop me a comment or drop me an email. Do subscribe to the channel. I want to make sure you guys are aware of any new products I got coming out on the channel. Fat Cat Collections is always going to have all different kinds of products, so stay tuned for more. And if you do subscribe, no, sometimes it's going to be cologne. I'm doing right now Fragrance Fridays, and I'm alternating between watch reviews on Saturdays, fragrance reviews on every other Friday. So you guys will have a little bit of a mix of different products. And again, if I can help you guys in any way, get a hold of me. I'll do my best to do so. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, folks, and take care.